Well, hello, and welcome to a brand new episode of the KickOut. We said wrestling is back the other day, and we've come with a new episode to talk about everything WWE this time. We had a little AEW chat. We'll still talk about AEW in today's episode, but today we're focusing on two pay-per-views that WWE provided us this weekend: Summerslam on Saturday, NXT Takeover 36 on the Sunday. I go by the name of Skillet.
I'm Tay.
And my name is Mix.
And we got a special guest. We got a special guest joining us here today. Someone that I've always wanted to join not join the Kick Out, but be a part of the podcast for a long time as a guest. And we've just never done it for whatever reason. He's never joined the podcast before. I'm talking about a fellow podcast colleague of mine, my GP brother, Ash Rose. He should be in the invite, right? He should be in the chat.
He's right behind the curtain, but
He's
course,
right
you know how this goes. We need the Royal Rumble countdown.
All right, before we do that, big up Ash Rose, formerly from the Gorilla Position podcast, now owner of the Hooked on Wrestling podcast. He's that special guest. Let's count him down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Tay, I heard a little bit of an echo.
Hey! Where's my entrance music?
We counted you down.
How are we doing, fellas? And Tay.
Hi.
We all good.
Tay, you might have to press mute on your mic because I'm hearing the echo. Sorry, Donnie, but obviously unmute when you know. Ash, so good to see you. So good to finally have you on the KickOut podcast. I was just saying, when the KickOut formed, and you were supposed to be one of the first people to be on this show, and that never actually ever happened. But we finally got you in 2021. Before we start asking you about your thoughts on SummerSlam weekend and NXT Takeover, how are you? And how is things hooked on wrestling? Tell me, how's things, my brother?
It's all good, Skills. And yeah, you're right. This has been a long-term collaboration coming, hasn't it? It has definitely been. It's been a long time, but thank you for having me on the KickOut. Long-time listener, obviously, as well, you guys. Long-time partier with you as well, you and Tail. So we've had some moments, some events and stuff, and I'm sure we will in the future. And you, Max, when the world gets back to some normality. But things are good, mate. Yeah. The Hooks on Wrestling show will be back tomorrow. We'll do our own review of just a quiet weekend in the wrestling world, wasn't it? So we'll do a review of that, and I'll use this moment to plug Wwe Kids Magazine as well, which is all going strong, and new issue out this week. Actually, that's good timing, Skills. Yeah, new issue Wwe Kids Mag out this week. So if you've got little ones that love the raps,
yeah, man. Well, yeah, obviously, my brother. Shout out to my brother Christian. He's got 4 children, but he subscribes to WWE Kids Magazine, and he's a massive fan of your work because of our days together in GP. So for sure, we had a conversation with him the other day, and I was giving him some memory lane when you and I was in Brooklyn for SummerSlam in 2017, and I was figure fouring the guys. I was putting guys in a local pub in figure fours and chopping their chest and doing the Ric Flair strut. Good times.
I think proposing to everyone that walked past in a macho man.
In a macho man, Randy Savage. Will you marry me? Classic.
That will live with me forever. Actually. Yeah.
A lot of people said yes.
They did. Yeah.
And they did the Randy Savage. You
Yeah. You did.
Put in the air afterwards. Yeah. Okay, guys. So let's get straight into it. Actually, before we talk about SummerSlam, Ash, I want to hear your thoughts because I know, everybody's on this CM Punk hype. Yeah, of course. I tried to call you on the episode, and you didn't answer the damn phone. But CM Punk is back, and he's in the rival company now, AEW. Your honest opinion, please. Like, are you at least happy to see him back in the squared circle? I know you got some controversial opinions about CM Punk.
Yeah, I'm not going to be. I'm really trying, and I haven't said much on social media not to be that guy because I'm not trying to be that guy. But let's be honest, right? Firstly, it was an amazing moment. That pop, like I haven't heard a pop like that for a long time. And
absolutely.
The sad thing is, I'm not sure we'll ever hear a pop like that again. As we said it, that could be the last big return pop in wrestling, which is kind of sad, I guess. But it was. It was massive. And I like the way that They didn't need to advertise it. It opened the show. That it was there. The moment was there. And look, it's great to see CM Punk back. I'm a wrestling fan. I want to be entertained. All I ever sort of say is that I've never really drunk the Punk Kool-Aid. Like, I get and respect that he's brilliant in the ring, and the Summer of Punk in 2011 was one of the best summers of wrestling that we've all experienced. He's just not for me. Like, I don't resonate with CM Punk. He's just not my guy, and that's nothing. There's nothing I'm not critiquing him or criticizing him. Doesn't intrigue me or interest me as some others. I didn't like some of the sly digs at WWE he did, as I mentioned to you on Twitter. That, you know, if he didn't want to go there and not be a professional wrestler, don't go there. You know, don't take the money, don't take the stardom that WWE gave you. And WWE aren't at fault. Totally. He's the end of his run. We all know what happened. He was promised stuff he didn't get. They're totally not blameless in the whole situation. Some things he does and says leaves a bit of taste in my mouth, and he's not the only wrestler to do that. So it's great to see him back, and wrestling is better with him. He's just not my guy. I think that's the nicest, without being too negative and being, that guy. He's just not for me. That's what I would say.
I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying. To be honest with you, I kind of felt he was quite light.
Oh yeah.
I honestly expected him to kind of really go at WWE, and he didn't do that, mainly because he was just being fully himself. I mean, obviously, Phil Brooks, CM Punk, it's not really much of a difference, to be honest. No. But I just felt he was so emotional, and I think the reason why he probably didn't have a real go at WWE is because he's probably really much in a happy place, where before Summer of Punk and what came after that, he wasn't. He was in a really negative space. He wasn't happy there. He wasn't happy in the company. Even if you think about it, even the pipe bomb, he was speaking from his heart about things. And WWE, instead of listening to what he had to say, they just listened to the audience reception, and they were like, all right, money, let's give you a contract, but we're not going to actually listen to what you actually said in your promo, which is kind of, you know, I mean, I guess to a certain degree, they did make some differences, but you know, it's hard when you work with Vince McMahon. It's hard.
But you have to play the game in WWE, and some don't like that, and I get that. If I was a CM Punk mindset, I wouldn't like that. But WWE is what it is, and as we were discussing over the weekend, one man isn't really going to change that as much as you want. Daniel Bryan had a great go, but in the end, it all falls back down to one guy and the way he wants to see it portrayed. Like, look at NXT. We all love and enjoy Triple H version in NXT, but one man doesn't, and that's why we're getting some sort of revamp. I'm not happy about it, but that's the machine, and you kind of have to play the game. And Punk didn't. That's his personality. No pun intended. But I just don't get it. I think I'm in the vast minority. And Mex, we talked about this, didn't we, when you were on the Hooked On Wrestling show? Like, I know I'm in the vast minority. I've never been that. He's never been my guy. I just don't get it with him. I just don't see what others see. Like when Roman came out of the weekend and said about him not having the same profile as Cena and Reigns, Cena and The Rock. Totally right. Like, of course he does.
I still
Skillet, it's right. Skillet, we've had this conversation. You know it's the truth.
No, do you know what it is? Do you know why I have a little bit of problem with that? Yes, you can say that in terms of mainstream appeal, in terms of star Hollywood and whatever, because Cena's done other things that's kind of boosted up his profile. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
But if we're talking about a wrestling standpoint, I mean, look at this. Look at the merch AEW has sold this weekend alone. You know, and the amount of views that YouTube channel has, you know, gotten of his appearance. Like, you can't, and that pop Punk got like that. I'm gonna be real with you guys. I've never heard Cena get a reception like that. Never.
Yeah, but Cena's not been away for 7 years and potentially
that is true.
You've got
and they didn't re-debut Cena in Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah, exactly. He was in Chicago
as well.
Yeah, but if you look at it objectively, I'm not saying Cena is not more over. I'm not saying that, because when someone's over, you draw emotions from the crowd, no matter how they feel, right? No matter how they feel, you're drawing emotions from the crowd. But I think we tend to forget with John Cena, a lot of the reception he got wasn't always positive.
Well, no.
Did you get what I'm saying? So it's like from 2015 onwards, Cena has really stamped a mark for himself where, yes, all right, now people get it. Now people respect him. Now people love him and adore him. But that wasn't always the case. Like 2005, Cena was getting go away heat. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And at that time, that's when he was the world champion. So this is the thing that we tend to do. We kind of try to forget history. But I don't ever forget history. You know,
look, I don't think anyone is doubting what you're saying, but I feel like as maybe more of a Punk fan, you feel like maybe he's being discredited, which isn't the case. Like everything you mentioned,
I mean,
in terms of
that is a bit of a discredit.
No. But he's being Reigns. He's the character. But I mean, from what we're saying, I think everything you mentioned in terms of the amount of people that came out to see him, the T-shirt sales and stuff. John Cena has done all of it.
Oh, 100%,
like, so
100%,
it's not to say, you know, Punk, he done this, blah, blah, blah. It's just a case of, you know, he is good. He is very good in wrestling, but it comes down to, you know, what I was saying to you the other day. Punk is nothing more, and it sounds mad, and I don't want to sound like I'm discrediting him, but he's nothing more than a top wrestling star.
Yeah,
but these men have done it. These men have done it in wrestling. They've done it in the mainstream, which makes them crossover, which makes them more of stars. So when Reigns is saying what he's saying, he's in character 1, 2.
You know what?
He's putting over the WWE guys. And wait, number 3. Right now, he's the top guy in WWE, so he can say who made it and who doesn't make the grade. It's what Reigns does right now, isn't it?
No. You know, I've got a little bit of issue with what you just said, actually, because a top wrestling star to me is someone like a Kevin Owens. A top wrestling star to me is someone like a New Day, right? They're top wrestling stars. But CM Punk has actually transcended to mainstream. He has. The reason why, and you know what? Do you know what proves that? No, wait. Let me finish. You know what proves that point? Do you know what proves that point? Was when he went to UFC. Of course, his UFC run was terrible. He was a bit arrogant with that, and he was too self. I think he felt too highly of himself that he thinks he could actually compete with actual MMA fighters. That's another thing on its own. But the fact that he actually was a box office draw for UFC shows he was a mainstream star.
I think we're stretching it. I think we're stretching it a bit.
It's a different kind of mainstream as well, because my interpretation of mainstream as well, when you look at Rock and Cena, is
it's different levels. It's different levels.
I would go to my sister who has no clue about wrestling whatsoever and show her a picture of Dwayne Johnson and John Cena. She'd probably know. She would have no idea who CM Punk was, because
that's a fair point.
That's different level. And also the CM Punk point I always think as well, like, one, you're always a bigger star the longer you're away, because that's just wrestling. The longer you're not there, the bigger star you become. Whatever company you're in, we all like even over the weekend, Becky and Brock are bigger stars for being out for a while than they would have been, if we'd seen them every week. That's just the nature of wrestling. So to be out for 7 years, you're going to get those views, you're going to get those pops. And also, Punk became the answer. WWE, as much as I love it, as much as you guys love it, hasn't been brilliant in the last 18 months, not all down to themselves because of the COVID situation as well. But the stuff that is down to them that we haven't liked, all the stuff we see on Raw, because Raw's really struggled, Punk, AEW became the answer and Punk became the answer. Yeah. So to everyone else, Punk is now the answer to all those, desperate cries for WWE to be better and to Punk to come back there, which never obviously happened, even though he came to backstage again, came back to WWE, stop moaning about it if you're not going back. But he became the answer. And that's why CM Punk, that's one of the reasons people are so desperate to drink his Kool-Aid, because he is seen as the answer. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's an alternative thing. And that's what AEW have become. They've done it very well. And Punk fits that mold now. There's an argument that CM Punk doesn't even actually fit WWE anymore. But maybe that's an argument for another day.
Tay, you kind of fell out of wrestling at that time when Punk was doing his thing, right? Am I right in thinking that?
Yeah, from the beginning, 2011, I wasn't really watching that closely. I kind of got him towards the end when he'd become a bit more fed up. So he had cast his...
more miserable.
Yeah, he'd become more miserable. But then that kind of became like a nice kind of character in itself, because of all the, just everything was placed like correctly, and then Punk was just like completely different, like just talking recklessly, and people were like, oh, that's something different, that's something new, let's like hang on to that. So I can see where you're coming from, Skinner, and I do have some things I do definitely agree with, and some things I'm just like, he's definitely not as big a star as Roman Reigns and Cena, that's for sure. But again, he never had the.
You mean the Rock? You mean the Rock?
Sorry, the Rock. Yeah.
You mean the Rock? Don't do that.
Right, not Reigns. Yeah.
I mean, is he as big as a star as Roman?
Next stop. You guys are being ridiculous. You're being ridiculous. You know, CM Punk has got number one.
He's a rebellious person. He's what people are going to flock to if they want to rebel. Anyone who wants to rebel against WWE is going to flock to CM Punk.
In my opinion, I feel Punk is very justified to feel how he feels. I feel, WWE has been very frustrating company to work with. I can definitely imagine that, especially being a pro wrestler, especially if you love the sport of professional wrestling, especially if you love that, so I can understand. He got number one shirt sales in Pro Wrestling Tees, which crashed on that day. The number one before that was the Bullet Club merch, which was like the biggest merch for a long time, probably since like,
it was, I think, the biggest
Cena, maybe Cena, NWO, maybe, I don't know. Stone Cold.
Sting had the record on Pro Wrestling Tees when Sting just came back before CM Punk. So yeah.
No, but they
Punky knows I'm a Sting.
No, I love Sting. No, I love Sting. Don't get it. You know I love Sting. By the way, for guys who don't know in this chat, Sting is Ash's number one. That's Ash's number one. So, okay. Well, listen, we'll put a stamp mark on there. Don't ever in your life again, Max, compare Roman Reigns' fame to CM Punk. But anyway,
I said it's a conversation worth having.
No, it's not. It's not even a conversation, but that's okay. But let's talk about SummerSlam weekend. This is why we're here. Mex and I, before you joined us, Ash, and before you joined us, Tay, we were talking about the kickoff show, the panel with Booker T, Rosenberg, Kayla Jackson looked incredible, by the way. She looked stunning. And who else was in? Jerry the King Lawler. And Booker T was given what's the Irish fella name?
Kevin Patrick.
Booker T was giving him. I love Booker T. I do love it, and I know he's joking about. I know it's all like play, but it was a bit like if I was Kevin Patrick and I just started, and Booker T saying to me, "You better earn your paycheck." Because like Rosenberg is my man. Like I'll just be like, I'm not here for this. I'm just here to do a job. But Booker T was having such a good time. But I think kickoff the first match was Big E versus Baron Corbin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's go to you first, Tay. Did you get to see this match?
Yeah, I mean it was a good first match. It wasn't I'm trying to remember the end of it actually because it was a long weekend.
Well, Biggie beat him. That's that. Yeah. But I was a bit confused, guys. Why was there a new ring announcer for that? Was it only for that match?
It was a competition, wasn't it?
Yeah, so she won a competition on TikTok to be the ring announcer. So yeah, I thought she was pretty good, to be honest. Rain Cruz, I think her name was.
Okay. So she might get a contract with WWE one day.
But she does ring announcing. Like she works for like some small indie promotion.
That's not a competition, is it?
Exactly.
So she fluked her way. She cheated her way to the top, but it was experience. But yeah.
Okay. Ash, Big E being the kickoff, being the first guy in the kickoff match. Is this where you want to see Big E?
I don't know. They're treading water a little bit, aren't they, with him at the moment? He's obviously, there is a plan, I like to think, with the briefcase. What I'd like to think there might not be, but they don't seem to know what to do with him right now before they get. I mean, I'm enjoying his little funny skits with Paul Heyman where he's just popping up and with the briefcase and stuff, but I feel like he needs a meaty feud before there is an attempt of a cash in. I mean, who knows how long that, because who knows who's going to take the belt of Reigns? It's such a hard task for that story to end and to be that guy. I mean, I'm not even sure Big E is that guy yet. I don't know, because I think he needs something. I still think he should cash on Lashley. I think he should be moved to Raw and cash in on Lashley. I think that's a better story. It moves him away from Reigns. I don't think he's the guy for Reigns, not yet. So maybe they're just keeping him cool until the draft. I don't know.
I mean, you're definitely right with the build of Big E at the moment, for sure. He's not ready yet because they haven't given him anybody like worthy he has defeated yet. But if I'm honest with you, I just feel they need to build. This is a good way to build a new star, a main eventer, which Biggie could be that guy if he cashes in against Reigns, but obviously cashes against Reigns while Reigns has already defeated the likes of Brock Lesnar or the likes of The Rock and stuff like that, bigger names, and then he cashes in then. I think that's a great way of making him a star. But yes, you are right. There's no point making him cashing in Reigns if he hasn't had a feud with somebody of note or worthy, like a Seth Rollins or Edge. Or do you get what I mean? That's what they need to start doing with Big E. Otherwise, most likely, you're probably right. He's probably going to get moved to Raw. I can see that happening for sure. Okay, so Big E, Corbin, that thing was over and done with, which is good. I'm really liking Corbin though, guys. I'm sorry. I'm loving this. I'm loving this Corbin thing.
Did you see his skit on Twitter or Instagram?
No.
So obviously they were in Las Vegas. He's gone into the to gamble into a casino with $30. He's won $100. He's like running around the casino with $100, saying that finally he could probably buy like some food, probably get a new shirt to replace his stained shirt. Like he's completely embracing this character, and yeah, he's doing some good stuff.
No, he's killing it. Like I've always been a Corbin fan, but I can understand why people wasn't. Now I if anyone was to kind of like hate on Corbin, I that would really kind of rub me the wrong way now, because
I'd like to see him hook up with Cameron Grimes. I think that would be a nice way to bring
that'd be amazing
Grimes into the
yeah.
Because I love Cameron Grimes. I think this storyline with him and LA Knight and Ted DiBiase has been the sleeper story of 2021.
It's been very good,
fantastic for both guys, because I wasn't really sure of either of them before that feud. But I think Grimes has come out of it such a lovable babyface. LA Knight's killing it. And I think if NXT is going down this route of more new young stars and moving some across, I think that'd be a great way for Corbin's money troubles to be helped out by, to the moon, Cameron Grimes. So.
yeah, for sure. No, you're right. I'm enjoying that feud as well. And I've been a bit on and off NXT recently, but I've been keeping tabs. So yeah, for sure. Next, what was the next match after the Big E Corbin?
So the first match on the card was the Raw Tag Team Championship match. We had RK Bro chasing AJ Styles and Omos for the Raw Tag Team Championships.
Hey man, I'm gonna give it up to Riddle, man. Riddle has made this whole thing work for me. And then don't get me wrong, Randy Orton has played his part too. I'm not saying he hasn't. Orton's been great in it as well, but I did not see this thing working at all. This is like, to me, this is like a rock and sock connection kind of thing. It's amazing stuff. I love it. Riddle is really, I know it's not far from who he is in real life, but he's really killing it with that. You say stoner, Mex. I say surfer. With that gimmick, he's killing it.
Definitely a stoner. Definitely a stoner.
Ash, are you happy with Riddle and Orton being the tag team champs?
Yeah, I think it was time for AJ and Omos to drop them. I think Omos is getting billed for a run, isn't he? He's a Vince guy for sure. We can expect something from him. I'd like to see AJ back as well in singles competitions. I think they've done what they needed to do. RK Bro is typical. It's a WWE odd couple, isn't it? They love to throw, like you said, rock and sock. You can look at Booker T and Goldust and Booker T and R-Truth and Goldust. They like to throw these random odd couples together, and most of the time they're really fun. It's especially a SummerSlam fodder match. You know where it's leading. Randy's going to go darker and turn on Riddle at some point, and that does great stuff for Riddle as well. I mean, it took me a long time with Riddle. I didn't. We asked the question a lot on the Hooked On show, that what was Riddle. I just didn't understand what he was trying to be. Like, I didn't understand the gimmick, but really, he's us. He's a wrestling fan. Like,
yeah, for sure.
I was about to say, I'm not a stoner.
No, I'm taking away the stoner. He's the way he interacts with superstars is kind of like a bit like how Bailey did back in the early NXT days. How his reaction with the Viking Raiders. I remember his mannerisms in Money in the Bank with Ricochet and what the stuff he's done with Randy Orton. He's kind of a wrestling fan who's also a bloody brilliant wrestler at the same time as well. So, I mean, I get it. It's for a younger audience as well. The scooter, the flip-flops, the birds. I get it. His presentation is probably not aimed for us, but I don't hate it. Like, it makes me smile.
I agree totally. He makes me laugh. Like when they had that segment on Raw when it looked like they were about to break up. Said, "You don't want to be my friend anymore," and then you had the whole crowd going, "Oh!" Like it was like that stuff like that. That's when it works. Like the fact that people can understand the cues and they're getting what he's saying, and it's great stuff. Tay, are you a fan of RK Bro?
I'm a fan of RK Bro, actually. It's just like nice, light-hearted wrestling. Yeah. No, I mean, you don't expect too much from it. You just want to see a good match, and they'll put on a good match.
And Ash is absolutely right. Like the Viper's gonna come out. He's gonna they'll book it where Orton actually does fall in love with him, and Orton does start to like him. I mean, he's gonna be really conflicted at one point, and then he's gonna just go back to what he knows best, and that's being a prick.
I must critique one thing though. AJ Styles, almost not your traditional tag team, have now dropped the titles to Randy Orton and Riddle, not your traditional tag team. Yeah. Where are the tag teams on Raw?
Where are the tag teams anywhere?
Well,
anywhere.
Like when you got a team like the Street Profits, who for me are phenomenal team. I've compared them to they could be like the New Age Outlaws. Like throw them in the main event mix, they wouldn't look out of place.
Yeah, for sure.
What are they doing on SmackDown? Like, I know, I like the Mysterios and obviously the Usos are killing it as part of the bloodline, but they're doing nothing on SmackDown. And as you say, Tay, and Mex, on Raw, where are the tag, like, other than the Viking Raiders, who are the tag teams on Raw?
The New Day, I don't think have been on TV since they dropped the title. Since Kofi lost to Bobby Lashley at Money in the Bank. They weren't on TV since then. They had a little skit, I think it was last week, running through the back of Miz's promo backstage. And then obviously on SummerSlam, we saw Xavier Woods do this Razor Ramon water gun thing. But yeah, New Day haven't even been on TV, and that's like their biggest tag team act.
Yeah. Speaking of tag teams, is it true that FTR is over? It seems like from Dax Hayward's tweets.
I saw that.
That's so upsetting, man.
He tweeted top guy out, and because
Cash Wheeler cut his arm, right? He cut his arm.
In AEW, but so they tweeted that, but I don't know whether they're gonna take a break as a tag team.
He does solo work, and then he'll come back. Yeah,
or they're leaving AEW. Like, who knows?
No, I don't think they're leaving AEW. I hope it's what you just said. I think Dax is gonna have to be a solo wrestler for the forthcoming future, and then Cash will come back and hopefully they'll reform. I'm hoping Cash is okay because that sounds really bad. I love those guys. Okay, what was the next match, Max? I can't remember the damn.
We had Alexa Bliss versus Eva Marie, the match that I'm sure...
Oh, Tay's favorite wrestler. Let's get to Tay. Eva Marie's back, and she was in a feud with Alexa Bliss. You actually genuinely like Alexa Bliss, so but I know you're not. I know you're not happy with this new.
This is a pile of bullshit. It's a pile of bullshit. How dare they give Alexa Bliss Eva Marie? Are you crazy? This is insane. Why is Eva Marie here? Why is she here? You got rid of Ruby Riott for this.
That's like crime still.
I know.
I don't know what they're doing for Doudrop or Piper Niven. I hope from this she's gone solo and leaves Eva Marie to leave. I don't know, but I don't know why she was chosen to come back and put people on. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, considering she's got no entertaining skills, no wrestling skills. She's just on the TV to look pretty, and that's it.
Jesus, pipe bomb Tay. Right.
It is a shame that Eva Marie can't cut a promo, because if she could cut a promo, and like, it doesn't really matter if she can't wrestle, but if she could cut a promo at least, and because she's already got go away heat. But imagine if she could actually talk with the go away heat. It would be so good for Piper Niven, because Piper Niven could probably like really excel from that. But that hasn't really happened, and I guess they've cut the storyline short because they know this is not working. Piper's probably going to go solo now. Ash, are you a fan of Piper Niven's work in NXT UK, and what do you think about her in the main roster?
Yeah, I mean, she's obviously a talent. She's, I remember seeing her on an indie show actually a few years ago when I was in Glasgow, and being impressed. She's obviously a different type of women's wrestling you don't see very often, because even with her build, she's really athletic. Really, she's got great agility and stuff. And you can see
for sure
snippets of that in the ring already on Raw. Doudrop is, I don't understand. I don't know why. why WWE have no sold the fact that they know that she was in WWE in NXT UK before. I don't understand that way of thinking, but okay, fair enough. It looks like she was kind of smiling at Alexa a lot in this match. So is that where we're going? Is Doudrop deflecting from Eva Marie to join Alexa's?
Oh, Lord.
I
don't know what's worse.
I think maybe she was more smiling at just the demise of Eva Marie during the match. I hope so anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a massive Alexa Bliss fan. Like, I think everything she's ever done, bar Bailey, This Is Your Life, she's knocked it out of the park. Like, she's so underrated in that women's. When they talk about, and they big up the women's revolution, blah blah blah, she always gets missed off. Like, we all talk about the 4 horsewomen, and they are what they are, and they should be on this pedestal. But she's not far down, and she's not the in-ring general of others. But girl can tell a story, and even in this stuff that she's been given, I thought she'd be a bit more shit on really last night with the whole Bray Wyatt thing, but she seems to be still over, even with a doll. So fair play to her, because she's getting this. Where it goes, I don't think they know anymore, because I'd like to see the original. Like, I'm ready to see proper Bliss back now.
The goddess.
Yeah, the goddess I think the division could need it as well.
For sure, 100%. Yeah. Oh, we just got a question. This is dedicated. Okay, so this is by Ronnie_QPR.
Yours.
Cyber Ron 87. He's always like a avid listener of the KickOut, and I think from GP days as well. He says, "Hello, boys. This says 1,000 words in my opinion." He's talking about CM Punk. Over 1/3 the views in 2 days. So my question is simply: is this the biggest return / pop ever? It is, in my opinion. And also to Ash. Come on, your RSS. What does that mean? Come on, your
It's a QPR.
Oh, I should have known that. That's really bad. Oh, I was right about QPR. They want me some money the other day.
Yeah, thanks.
So what do you guys think? We're gonna circle back to CM Punk quickly, and then we go back into Summerslam review. Biggest return pop ever?
I think the biggest return, like definitely in my lifetime, biggest reaction. I mean, pop. I don't want to sound petty, but I don't have the decibels, to measure the pop. It's in a closed stadium. Like Becky's pop the other day was loud, but it's in a open stadium, and we have to take that into consideration if I'm being really petty. But it was a massive pop.
I'm going to close this debate, because I know what the biggest return pop is of all time. Is when Stone Cold Steve Austin came back at Backlash, Rock versus Triple H. That place blew the roof of that arena. It's not in the hometown of Texas. It wasn't in the hometown of Texas. Nothing like that. It wasn't a home field advantage. And nothing. No offense to CM Punk, but it wasn't nothing like that. I'm sorry. I don't think you can get any louder than a Stone Cold Steve Austin entrance. That's my opinion. So that's what I'm going to say.
I think you're right. I mean, I'd throw in Triple H at Madison Square Garden. That's a close.
That was good. That was
top
good.
5, top 3, because when someone says pop, that's where my mind.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind too. Yeah,
that was tremendous. But yeah, Stone Cold, especially with the glass smashing, how loud it is, because you get that half a second before the music kicks in. So, although I have been playing Cult Personality all weekend, so tell me, because it's a tune. What do you think about CM Punk? It's a tune.
It's a bad boy tune. Okay, let's get back into SummerSlam, and then we'll answer some more questions. Another question is coming, but we'll get to that when we talk about a certain match in the SummerSlam review. What was next, Max, please?
United States Championship match. Damien Priest got the win. He beat Sheamus, become the new United States champion.
Max, I'm going to go to you with this. Was this too early for Damien Priest?
I don't think so. I think there is some stock that they've got in him. They clearly like him. They paired him with Bad Bunny to do the whole WrestleMania thing, and someone that they didn't think somewhat highly of wouldn't have come up from NXT and just slotted straight in with a megastar like Bad Bunny. You see what I mean? So they clearly rate him somewhat. They gave him the big elimination at the Royal Rumble of Kane, who is obviously one of these kind of record performers when it comes to the Royal Rumble. So he's had a couple nice spots this year. this was natural progression. For a while, he stalled on the main roster following WrestleMania. Didn't really have much to do. Wasn't even on Raw. And yeah, Sheamus hasn't done much with that United States Championship. He's been injured with the nose break. I think he got with Humberto Carrillo, I think it was. So yeah, I think this was just kind of natural progression. He can kick on, and I guess this is like the building of new stars we always ask to see. So yeah, I think it was just normal. Like, yeah.
Ash, what's your thoughts on Damien Priest?
Yeah, it took me some time in NXT to get to the point of, because I didn't really understand what he was trying to, because he had this kind of goth kind of imagery with the entrance and the bow and stuff, but then he was trying to be like a playboy.
Yeah.
I never quite got what the mesh between the two were, but I think they've lessened the gothness on Raw, and I think he's getting away from Miz and Morrison is the first thing, because like it's been done to death. We needed to get away from him. Bad Bunny obviously made his profile higher. And I think Mex is right. I think he's been treading water a little bit. I think he needed some sort of boost. This is probably it. I wouldn't mind seeing this again, actually, because I think they could probably put on another show. I think Sheamus has done some great stuff in 2021 in terms of in-ring rivalries and stuff, and doing the kind of underappreciated job. So yeah, why not? The US title's a funny one, isn't it? Because you never know. It's like flavor of the month at the moment. You never see both titles, like mid-card titles, on the same show at the moment. So they seem to be going with the US title, which is fine. But as I always say, as long as it's a plan for Damien Priest now, and if it's Sheamus for the time being, great, because he's good on the mic. That's what I like about Priest. He can tell a story.
Yeah, he can. You can. I've always been a Damien Priest fan. I do agree. I do agree. I don't think they knew what to do with him when he first came to NXT either. And I think the goth playboy thing was kind of influenced from Blade. If you ever watched Blade villains, they were a bit like goth playboys.
Yeah. Remember we were calling him the raving vampire.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think they've toned down on that now and trying to bring out his true personality out, to be honest. And he cut a decent promo afterwards when he won the belt. So yeah, and I think you're absolutely right, Ash. More Priest than Sheamus matches. Tay, you're a fan of Damien Priest? I'm gonna get some more light in this camera. So you answer this question.
I again wasn't sold on him before, but do you know what? I'm actually growing to like him. I said before previously that he was going to get the US Championship as payoff for the zombie stuff that he had before. So like I said, he's got it in the bag. It's good. I do feel like they're on his side, and he's going to get pushed to high heavens. I see that what they're pushing for him is what they wanted Big Cass to be, kind of way back. So I do feel like he's going to have quite a good run.
I was just going to say, maybe you've kind of answered it, but obviously in NXT, he became North American champion for a short stint. Now he's US champion. So these are like two mid-card championships. Do you think this is maybe where they see him? Or is it too early to say? Do you think they can still, he could be world champion one day?
I mean, absolutely. It's very early to say. Like, I don't think they're thinking. I think anyone they put in the main roster, they have that thought of this guy could potentially become a champion, no matter who you are. It's just how the cards are played out and how things are dealt, and then, and the reaction of the crowd. They realize, okay, we're gonna have to put this guy as a mid carder. You get what I mean? Yeah. So they probably do have high hopes for him. They don't want to at the same time rush it. And I think that's what you always do. You always put someone in as a mid card talent first and see how they do from there. So
it's a good point though, because you can get stuck. Like, I always think of like MVP. He got stuck. Like he definitely did. He was a mid carder for pretty much his whole first run in WWE, and I was worried about Big E for a while. I thought he could get that same thing until Money in the Bank. Yeah. I thought that could be. So there's definite. I think it is early, but there is a definite element that he could be that upper mid card guy that doesn't quite get to the main event spot. But it's a crowded place, especially when you got two like massively dominant champions at the moment. I'm not completely still sold on Bobby Lashley, but you want to stay clear of SmackDown because there's a Roman Reigns glass ceiling that no one's breaking it at the moment.
That's a good point, Ash. What's next, Max? Sorry, what's the next
we had the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the Mysterio versus the Usos, father and son trying to take the titles back, which they failed to do. The Usos retained.
I'm always enjoying how these guys work together. Mysterios and Usos. They had a great match in Money in the Bank, and had a nice little fun match again. Tay is looking like Dominic is gonna turn heel, isn't he, on Ray? Is that sure, no problem. Is that what you want to see? And do you think Dominic is ready to pull off that kind of storyline?
I'm not sure if he's ready, but if he's going to do something, it's going to have to be a heel. Yeah, I think it's easier to be a heel, like a new person and a heel, than try and win the crowd over and be a babyface. So if they're going to do anything, then he has to be heel. And he just needs to like really go into it, like "fuck you, dad," all that kind of stuff.
Those exact words.
Yeah.
Mex, do you feel like, Ray and Dominic, they won their father-son tag team championship, which got a good reception at the time and whatnot, but that's kind of like, in terms of them being together storyline-wise, that's probably the highest they can get. And for Dominic to really break out as his own star, he may have to turn on his dad. Is that what you see as well? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of dating it back, I just don't know why they just didn't make them win the championships together at WrestleMania. It still makes like zero sense. But yeah, whatever. With Dominic and Ray, I think I was saying this to you, like, just personally for myself, maybe others want this as well. I'd rather see Ray be the bad guy. Like, in a whole career of Rey Mysterio, we've hardly seen that kind of heel persona come out from him ever. And again, this is like one of those things where you actually don't know how the crowd will react, if the crowd will take Ray as a heel, because he's absolutely loved. But I think I'm just not sure if Dominic can be bought as a heel, just because literally he still has a baby face. Like, I don't know if people will actually buy into it at all. So, yeah.
Ash, you and I have been lifelong WCW fans. We were there when Ray was 16, 17, wrestling in those stadiums at Atlanta. And we've seen Ray's work from start to finish. We've never seen him heel, like Mex rightfully said. We've never been a heel. Is this the time to turn him heel? Is this something you want to see?
I don't know. I don't know if Ray could do it. I mean, I don't want to doubt him, because, as you say, he's one of my faves. He's Rey Mysterio. I think the only time I can remember him even towing the line was during the Filthy Animals, where they were.
Yeah, he did. He did have a little bit of a heel turn then. That was a little bit
slightly on the heel turn, but not, because they were still cool. They weren't heels. They were cool heels at best, with no mask, and obviously that's another thing as well. It's the whole presentation of Ray. It's hard in a WWE world to look like that and be a heel. This is how you do it. Ray's not going to turn heel. You don't turn Ray heel. That's not going to happen. You do turn Dominic heel. Dominic needs to attack Ray at Survivor Series. Dominic needs to be the one who ends Ray's career at WrestleMania next year, and Dominic needs to be the one to unmask Ray at his career ending. That's how you book this storyline. Ray needs to give up his mantle to his son, and also the mask to his son, in a really heelish way. Obviously, unfortunately, in a heartbreaking way.
Wait, you've kind of just changed what you said. Give his mask to Ray, or when I say Dominic takes the mask.
He takes it. Cool. But when I say give it, in terms of real life sense, you're passing on the mantle. Yeah. But he needs to take the mask from his dad, and it needs to break hearts. This can't be no, here you go, son. I love you. You're now the new Rey Mysterio. Fans are going to shit all over that. If you want to make Dominic a star, he needs to be a bastard. He needs to attack his dad, take the mask, and that's how you make Dominic a star. I'm writing WrestleMania, god damn it.
Do you think Dom's ready for that, though? Like,
no, he's not. He's not ready for that at all. That's too much pressure. He will fumble in seconds.
I think that's the end game. I think that's where we get to at some point in the future. He's still very green.
I agree with you, Ash. So give it another year.
Yeah, give it another
year. WrestleMania 2023. That's when it happens.
Yeah. Tay saying too. I hope that.
All right. Usos, amazing as always. We love Usos. I ain't got nothing else to say. I just want to see Naomi join the bloodline. What's taking them so long? But anyway, we'll talk about that. What's next? Next.
I was going to say quickly, just shout out to Dom. It's 1 year he's been wrestling now. He made his debut SummerSlam last year against Rollins. So Guy hasn't done too badly for himself. But next up, we got a special concert performance from Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. They came out parading the Intercontinental Championship, a bit of dancing. We've got a bit of Pat McAfee on the table.
I love Pat McAfee, by the way.
He's brilliant.
I love him.
He made a Friday Night Lights reference during this show, so if I couldn't not love Pat McAfee even more, I do now. Steph Edge, he said "clear heart, full hearts," and I was just like, "Oh my god!"
I actually thought of you, Ash. I actually thought of you when you said that. So,
but yeah, we soon learned that. Sorry, I was just gonna say we seen like this segment was just part of filling time for what was to follow, which was the SmackDown Women's Championship. So just to run through the saga here for those that haven't seen it, Bianca Belair made her entrance. They played the vignette of Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks before this entrance, as if the match is still going ahead. The commentator, once Bianca was all settled on the ring, Greg Hamilton said that this match ain't going ahead because Sasha Banks is unavailable, and that the new competitor in this match is going to be Carmella. Carmella came out, whole host of boos. I guess she's a heel, she can take it.
And also, they were also booing because Sasha's not there.
Of course. Bianca Belair cut a promo saying that, her and Sasha will meet somewhere down the road, but she was visibly disappointed. And then she said that, she's going to kick Carmella's dusty ass. And then before this match was kind of going to get kicked off, we saw the return of the man, Becky Lynch. She came out, massive ovation, got into the ring, more or less kicked Carmella out of the ring, threw her into the ring steps, proposed to Bianca Belair that she should be the competitor. Bianca Belair, after some deliberation with herself, accepted. The ring bell went. They went for a handshake that Becky instigated. The handshake turned to a sucker punch and then a manhandle slam. And 3 seconds later, Becky Lynch was the new SmackDown Women's Champion. 10 marks, discuss.
Let's go with Tay first.
Look, I'm not this is not a dig at Becky, obviously. Becky is good, but personally, I think she's overrated. I thought she was overrated before. Why bring Becky back and give her the championship if she's clearly not ready to resume full-time WWE championship? It doesn't make any sense to me. I thought it was just such a rash decision. In my mind, this is what happened. CM Punk came back. Vince got visibly mad, called Brock. There's a car outside for you 15 minutes. Who's the other woman? Who's a woman? Brock woman. Becky, get her on. They were literally day before, they were like, right, get him in, done. How do we do this? Well, you're not ready to wrestle? Fuck it, squash her, go. And it just seemed so, it was nonsense to me, because how is Becky squashing the strongest woman on the roster?
Yeah.
Bianca Belair has beaten Sasha, she's beating Bailey. Are you telling me that Becky can squash them too? No, she can't. No, not in this world, can she? It just seemed it was such a rash decision. It was a poor decision. It made me very angry. I had to have a nap because I was so mad, and I went to resume Summerslam later. I just think it was a terrible decision. No, nothing against Becky. Glad she's back. I would happily have her win the belt if there was some kind of match. That would have been fine. I wouldn't have been mad at that. But the fact it was a squash, it just shit all over.
Well, you're not the only one that feels that way. Nikki Bella had some words in the SummerSlam after party, and she was visibly upset about the decision of squashing Bianca Belair as well. What did she say again, Matt? She said, I'm not happy that they made the decision to squash her. She pointed at Bianca. She said Bianca's one of the best. She's like the best at the moment. And that title, the fact that title match when she won the title meant something for that to just be gone. But this is
pretty much just saying that, as well as what you've just said, that women's wrestling has come so far, and we're getting to basically a big 4 pay-per-view, and you're doing what you kind of used to do in terms of giving the women quick matches. But
I have a comment on that. I understand Nikki's frustration, but this is something Vince does. We've seen it with Daniel Bryan. I felt I was livid when Sheamus defeated Daniel Bryan in 12 seconds. We've seen this, you know, with the Kofi Mania Brock Lesnar bit. We've seen this with they've done. I swear they've done this with Bret Hart, the whole Hogan Bret Hart thing. You know, it's like these are the things. I know it's not exactly the same, but they have done this many times. Like this is but Tay, you might be right. The panic button might have been pressed because of CM Punk's return. Ash, do you think that was a response to Punk coming back?
No. I think it was a response to Sasha not being ready. I think that was more the case than CM Punk. I think Becky may have been planned for this weekend in a different type of way or something like that. But I think this was a direct response to Sasha legitimately not being available. So they thought, oh, what can we do? And the thing is, you have to remember as well, WWE, and this will be different to AEW, is about moments. Like, what is everyone going to be taking away from SummerSlam this weekend? Becky back, Brock back, to a certain extent, Edge's entrance, which we'll talk about in a minute. They're not talking about the matches. No. WWE, especially at SummerSlam and WrestleMania, they want you to remember the moments. And this is why I don't see this as a slight on the women's division, because they've created a moment. Like, we're all talking about it. That was the first thing we all, you know, the next morning or wherever you watched it, that's what we were all thinking about, is Becky's return, how it happened, whether you liked it or not. They created a moment. So I think they spotlighted the women's division for sure, because one of their best talents is back. Yes, it's come at the expense of Bianca, which I don't particularly like either. However, if it just leads to Becky Bianca in a big time proper match with a grudge on Bianca's half, I'm all in for that for sure, because now she's got a grudge against Becky. 30 seconds is a bit harsh. I get it. Yeah, it's a squash. It's not what we wanted to see. And there's reports today coming out that Becky's going to be a heel as well. Which
I heard that Becky's a heel now.
That's how they have to run it. That the crowd was visibly shocked and disappointed when it happened.
Yeah,
like people were like, oh, like when they having three, the amount of people's face was like, oh, like it's over, sort of thing. Like they were visibly shocked and some disappointed. And yeah, that's the only way to run it now. Like they've built Bianca as this big baby face. They gave her massive moments like the WrestleMania win, Royal Rumble win and stuff. She is up there in terms of baby faces in this company.
Totally. Yeah,
men or women, like she's really up there. So they have to play up. Becky, getting the crowd to boo Becky is going to be a very hard task, because for, like Tay said, I don't quite understand the hype, but I buy into it at times. But like, I don't know when everyone just started loving Becky, basically. Like, I didn't really get it. But like, to now turn that is going to be very, very difficult. But I think literally they change her music. None of that sing-along stuff. Just give her something a bit more hardened. Make her come out and mock, you know, Bianca Belair. Because now Becky's doing everything that she complained about. Remember that before she turned against Charlotte at that SummerSlam, all then, she was complaining about stuff like this. People just coming back, taking opportunities, this, that, and the other. Well, Becky's just done that now. So she has to join the brigade of heels and that do stuff like that.
She's got to become Hollywood Becky. She's got to do Hollywood Rock without the Hollywood. That's what she's got to do. She's got to come out and say, this division's nothing. I own it. I'm the man. She's got to twist it to be that kind of heel. Like, still kind of being what she is, but turning it up, the arrogance,
it does make sense for her character to be a heel. It does.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens going forward. She's not ready. Obviously, that's the reason why I personally believe that's why she squashed Bianca. I feel like if she was 100% ready to compete, that would have been a match. But she's not ready yet. She just had a baby. She's still got time to recover. But they're going to bring her back for what? Her mouthpiece. She can talk, cut promos. Austin was injured half the time when he was on top of the world, but he was still wrestling. He was still in Raw week in, week out because it's what he can say. So that's what they're going to use Becky for. What's the next match?
We had Drew McIntyre versus Jindal Mahou.
I
mean, you know what? It was 4 minutes. 4 minutes. And I thought, from I just think from Drew where he was, like 4.5 minutes. And Drew was like fighting for the world championship months ago. And to be honest, we all said we need Drew to move away from the title picture. But from that to 4-minute matches on pay-per-view, we can move on, really.
Yeah. We're not going to talk about that. Drew won, Jindal lost. Move on.
All I'll say is that this feud had a story already there. And they didn't use it.
Yeah,
they just fought over a sword. So
A sword that can't be used, by the way, because that would make someone a murderer.
Yeah, exactly. Or a fake sword or a replica sword. I don't even know. But like the story was there, not to go up, but 3MB, best friends, like it was there. And Raw is a lot. And I quote Kevin Clifton on this, who's on our Twitter feed, on our WhatsApp feed skills. As he said, Raw is a lot of people fighting over inanimate objects.
Yes, he did say that.
Which is true. Like whether it be a doll or a sword or a pistol water thing, like that is kind of Raw's thing at the moment. I don't understand it.
What is next?
That is so true.
I've just noticed that time is. I feel like we should do NXT Takeover another time, maybe tomorrow or something. I'm going to stick this to something. This has been a very long review. It's been an hour already, so let's keep going. We'll do SummerSlam, but we'll do NXT Takeover maybe another time. Unless you guys want to continue, it's totally up to you guys. But
it's a short show. Yeah,
that's cool. We could just run for
So
we had a triple threat match, Raw Women's Championship. Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley going after Nikki ASH's Raw Women's Championship. In the end, the queen always wins, innit? And
so what is this now, guys? What is this now? Her 15th time, or has she matched up to Flair already?
11th time. I'm pretty 12 because they counted she's won the Divas Championship once, 6 Raw Women's Championships, and 5 SmackDown Women's Championships.
They really want people to hate Charlotte, don't they? They really want people to hate
but
Charlotte.
You know what this is one thing. Let me just say 2 things. When they put Charlotte in these big matches, Charlotte shines. Charlotte is brilliant. Like performance-wise, she's brilliant. But again, I always feel like coming out of these for such a big star, Charlotte elevates nobody. Like there's no one that gets the rub once they've had a feud or a match with Charlotte Flair. The match itself, even is like I'm saying, it's all about Charlotte Flair just putting her over how good she is, and
that is such a good point. That is such a good point.
I was gonna say.
That is such a good point.
Selfish wrestler. She is a selfish wrestler.
You know what it is? That's such a good point, because her dad was the total opposite. Her dad made stars. Do you know how many stars Ric Flair made? Ric Flair made stars. And Ric Flair was the kind of guy that will have that belt for years, but it never mattered. Because Ric Flair made that wrestler look like $1 million. And it's just strange. I don't understand why they feel like why make Nikki beat Charlotte only for her to lose the belt, especially with that gimmick. That superhero gimmick is flimsy as it is. That superhero gimmick is not going to work unless you make her win matches. That's the only way that gimmick is going to work. And
so with everything you said, with everything you said, it just came to my mind. Maybe they're making Charlotte appear selfish in terms of this because they want her to reach these 16 titles to replicate her dad. Do you see what I mean? Maybe that's why she's not putting people over per se, if you get what I mean.
But that doesn't negate the fact that she couldn't get there. She's gonna get there, but she can still put people over in the meantime. Like for example, like Nikki, when it was Nikki Cross and not Nikki Ash, Nikki Cross had a range of moves. She was good in the ring, but in this match, she was doing roll-ups and DDTs and like such a limited range. Like she just looked like she shouldn't have been in the match. Like Charlotte Flair was kind of like, "I'll get out of the ring." I understand that's her character and stuff, but still give Nikki the chance to, be like a good smaller wrestler, like a good wrestler of a smaller stature. She can do the stuff that Alexa Bliss does. She can get to that level of a smaller stature wrestler. But in this match, she just wasn't given opportunity. It was just these small, little, tiny, I'm going to come in, I'm going to pop out. I'm going to come in, I'm going to pop out. I mean, Rhea Ripley held her own, but still it was very, very much Charlotte. And again, like you said, at the end, who remembers what the other two did? Because all I remember was Charlotte's moves.
Ash, what do you think about Charlotte regaining her title for the 12th time? And are you sick of seeing Charlotte as the champion now? Or are you? I mean, I know she's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant. That is a fact. She's great at what she does, but it does feel a bit like a slight on others.
It's difficult, and I echo both what you're saying as well. It's hard to see in the reigns and matches that she's had who she has put on her level, other than Becky, and Becky was probably already there in their feud as well. So I think the trouble they've had with this feud is that it hasn't worked from day one. Like, you've taken it back to Charlotte and Rhea. Like, compare their match at WrestleMania with no fans with one of the best moments of that era. Whatever reason, and I put the blame on the not knowing who the heel face dynamic was throughout this feud. It flip-flopped, it changed, it never worked. They threw Nikki in, and it's a really fun, short-term gimmick. I love Nikki Cross as a person, as a personality, as a wrestler. She's one of the sweetest persons in all of WWE, but this is a gimmick with a short lifespan. We all know that. So, and it's a Vince gimmick. He's always wanted that Mighty Mouse character. That's what we've all heard that for years. He wanted Pac to do it when he was in, when he was Neville. That was his first port of call with him. I can see why he did it. But we've ended up in the same place. Like, Charlotte is champion again, and now I'm going, well, and who's next? Like, no one wants to see Rhea. I love Rhea Ripley, but I do not want to see her face Charlotte again right now. No. And Nikki's the character that if she loses, you lose the gimmick. Like, her whole thing is overcoming the odds because she's almost a superhero and winning. Well, she's just lost, albeit in a triple threat. And Charlotte was brilliant. The corkscrew moonsault off the top, as per usual, was a thing of beauty. It has to be said. But where are we now? Who challenges Charlotte now? Who's left? That's always my thing.
It should have been like a David and Goliath kind of match. Like, she should have been the one to like pin Charlotte, the main one. But I never understand WWE's affinity with Charlotte, like having to have the belt. She has to have it.
And the thing is, people like Ric Flair was a 15, 16-time champion throughout like 20 plus years. Do you know what I mean? It's a difference. It's a difference of why it worked, because it's a 20-year span. Charlotte's a 12-time champion in 6 years. Yeah,
I have to say, I love when you talk about Ric Flair. Your eyes just go wide. Listen,
as you know, he's one of my all-time favorites, and like, I've got fond. It's like childhood. It's like I have that same reaction when I talk about Batman. You know what I mean? It's childhood memories lodged into my brain, and like this goes in like rapid motion of how many matches he had in my head. I love it.
Look behind me, brother. You ain't got to tell me about childhood memory.
Come on, my brother. Woo! You know what? The next time we get you on the pod, I want you to tell me every action figure you have there. Next, what's the next match, please, my friend?
Probably the match of the night. We got Edge versus Seth Rollins.
Absolutely.
That tremendous entrance going back to the days of the Brood from Edge. Just a great match, and big win for Edge. He's had, of course, a few high-profile matches since his return. All ended up in losses, but he got the win here over Seth Rollins.
Listen, can I just say, the best wrestler in WWE in the past 10, 12 years is Seth Rollins.
Yes. Yeah. Still underrated.
There's no debate. He is the standard bearer of wrestling quality. Like, don't get me wrong, Daniel Bryan, obviously, Daniel Bryan is the GOAT. Daniel Bryan's the GOAT. He's the best. Don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about someone who, in a consistent level, Seth Rollins, and on SummerSlam, he proved it again. He was whipping out the moves that he hasn't whipped out for a long time, like the Phoenix Splash, and he was just controlling that match. And I absolutely adore Seth Rollins. I love it.
Like, I always get into conversations with people, and obviously, us that go on Twitter a lot, we see people, Kenny Omega or Seth Rollins, and that's the usual comparison. And I'm always telling people, you guys know how good Seth Rollins is, and he works for WWE, where his stuff is clearly capped. Yeah. Like, if this guy was in the New Japan, if he was on the Indies and had no limitations, are you mental at this kind of stuff this guy's gonna pull out? Like, he's that good. Like, he's definitely up there in the conversation.
And he's a superstar. Like, he has everything. Like, I agree, Mex. If he's on the Indies or in another promotion, you see him in ring. But outside of that, give him a gimmick, he will absolutely kill it. Like, people shout on his babyface run. I didn't mind it. I thought it wasn't the best feuds, but he was a great babyface. He's easy to get behind because he's a good-looking man. He's great on the mic. There's nothing Seth Rollins cannot do. He's an absolute dude. Like, he is. I still think he gets underappreciated in WWE. Once he comes out of this whatever we want to call the gimmick now. It's gone past the kind of cult leader. It's his own thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I want to see like one more big babyface, top of the card. I mean, there is an argument, and many people won't like this, that Seth should be the one to down Roman.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't even be mad at that because we've seen Seth versus Roman, but we haven't really seen Seth versus Roman. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we've seen glimpses. We haven't seen a proper feud. We haven't really seen, we've seen a little, like we've had matches in the pay-per-views and stuff. We've seen that. And like a little month feud. We've seen like a month feud here and there, but we haven't had a proper rivalry. And obviously with this Reigns, this is a whole new Reigns. I honestly believe this is Reigns in his bag. This is actually Reigns. You get what I mean? We saw Roman Reigns before, but that's still very much developmental Reigns. Even though he did great stuff with the Shield, he's done some legendary stuff, been part of some legendary matches in that development role. I think that Reigns has finally found himself, and I would love to see this Reigns against Seth 100%. And yes, I wouldn't be mad at all.
Given the history as well, like if they use it and don't fight over an inanimate object.
Reigns and Seth fighting over a broom.
They'll probably fight over Reigns' lay.
Yeah.
You know, Seth Rollins wants it for his drip.
I want you to put a lay on.
Seth Rollins wants to add it to his drip. So
this fight, I don't want to hark on, but the storytelling is in this match as well. The whole curb stomp's going to end your career, harking back to the 7 years ago, and that story was told throughout the match. And also, we haven't even mentioned how brilliant Edge is.
Edge, come on, Edge is a legend. Edge coming back with
level.
Edge. Yeah. This return of Edge is like solidified. I mean, I'm not gonna say he was never a Hall of Famer, right? I was never gonna say that, but I felt he was given his Hall of Fame status too early. That's what I feel. But obviously, hindsight being 2020, nobody knew if Edge would ever wrestle again. Do you get what I mean? So I understood why they did it. But I mean, Edge coming back in this zone, Edge, his matches that he's having. Oh, he's a bona fide Hall of Fame. And also, I loved the Brood entrance. I wish Gangrel was there. I'm gonna be real. Yeah. I want to be real. They could have got Gangrel.
They really could have. I'm sure he's not that
easy. He's not that busy. You could have paid him a little something. He didn't have to be in the match, or he just had to come out of the flames with him, spit the blood, and leave. That's all you had to do.
If Gangrel,
the crowd would have went nuts.
If Gangrel could make it to Matt Hardy's compound thing on AEW in the pandemic, he could have made it to SummerSlam if they wanted him there.
If Gangrel come out at SummerSlam, CM Punk would be nothing. That'd have been the return of the weekend.
100%. 100%. But yeah, great match. Great to see Edge in this element. What you guys think is next for both now? Because I'm assuming that feud is finished now, right?
Oh.
I can't imagine seeing Edge for a while until maybe another big pay-per-views around the corner or something. But at the same time, that makes me feel like he's just gonna lose, or he'll lose all the heat he's kind of just built up, But yeah,
I'm gonna be real, guys. You know what I want to see?
What?
I want to see a heel Finn Balor versus Edge. That's what I want to see.
Interesting.
Why? What's going on with Finn? What the hell are they doing? The Finn got his contract stolen by Cena,
and he's not done anything about it.
You don't do anything about it.
That's. I mean, apparently Cena had some more dates on this little stint he's got past SummerSlam, but apparently now he's gone. But that's the one thing I would have liked to see, even if it was a TV match, a SmackDown main event, Finn Balor versus John Cena, and John Cena putting Finn Balor over. I thought that could have went leaps and bounds for Finn, but it looks like Cena's gone.
Before we move on, we have a member of the Hooked on Wrestling family with a question. It's Leanne, your homegirl Leanne Ash. She says, with Edge breaking out the Brood entrance at SummerSlam, which iconic entrance or music would you love to see again? So I'm going to go around. I will start with Mex. What iconic theme song that you don't hear today in wrestling history would you like to hear again?
I was about to be a prisoner of the moment and actually say Cult of Personality. I think it's Austin. Austin is just one of them ones that just garners reactions the minute you hear the glass break. Like, yeah, it's that, man.
But okay, but in the context of if you're thinking of a wrestler who has a new music now and they had an iconic theme song back in the day, would you like to bring back
Triple H's theme song?
Which one? The Time? It's my time.
Yeah, I think yeah. That was great.
112. It's on. Yeah. Tay?
I'm trying to think, like, who else is still there? I was there back in the day.
I got my answer.
Go on, what's yours?
Ash, do you want to go first?
Who's that bumping out the sky?
R.E.Y. Mysterio. There we go. You know what I would love? I would love it. I mean, it's never going to happen because he's now in AEW. But I wish when he did debut in WWE 2014, that Sting brought back that iconic Crow theme from WWE. Listen, I was so disappointed.
They could have done that as well.
They definitely could have done that. I marked out crazy, but the mark out would have been a whole nother level if he came out to the Crow theme. That's my answer. Tay, do you have one before we move on?
I don't. Move on.
Okay.
Randy Orton's another as well.
Randy Orton.
Oh, Randy Orton's theme. Yeah. Hey, nothing you can say.
Yeah.
Even CM Punk's
tune, Alter Bridge. Is it Alter Bridge?
Yep. The fire burns. Kane, chemical, slow chemical theme. We could go on. Anyway, what's next?
If we have to talk about this one, the WWE Championship match, Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley. Was it after or before? I can't even remember at this point. I was kind of falling asleep, but all I remember seeing is waking up halfway through the match, a bit of a nap, and seeing Gage in the full Nelson. I woke up and saw the poor boy getting full Nelson, and then I know Goldberg had faked an injury or got an injury to his leg. My memory's kind of foggy. I fell asleep during this match.
The best thing about this whole match was the crowd's response to Goldberg. They were booing Goldberg throughout the whole match. Bobby Lashley was getting cheered out the building. That's how bad it is, Mex, where this crowd ain't really invested in Lashley like that. They're not. But they don't want to see Goldberg that much that they cheered Lashley like he was a bona fide baby.
Oh, I need to watch this back.
You need to watch it back. It was so entertaining. It was so good to see. And this is the kind of shit CM Punk is talking about. Why are you bringing back Goldberg? Nobody wants to see Goldberg. Nobody wants to see this. Learn how to build new stars. And this is the issue you're having. You're having to bring back Becky Lynch, who just gave birth. You're bringing back Brock Lesnar to face Roman Reigns for the 1500th time. I was happy to see Brock Lesnar, but it just doesn't compare because you haven't built up proper stars.
But they were building Bianca and they went and squashed her.
That's the same problem. Same problem Punk's talking about. This all of it's part of the issue. But
I feel like they have what they're trying not to do is have another Daniel Bryan. So they keep on they'll push you and then they're like, wait a minute, you can't get too far with the newest stars.
But that's insanity to me. That's insanity.
Ever since then, it's like they've just never tried to let other stars build naturally. It has to be on their terms. Otherwise,
you're absolutely right. There's a rumor, I don't know if it's true, but there's a rumor that WWE has put an announcement saying they're never going to sign independent stars.
That's correct. Yeah.
What the hell?
Homegrown. They want homegrown NXT stars. That's what they want now.
Has that worked?
They've done the indie route, and in Vince's mind, it hasn't worked. He doesn't think.
The biggest homegrown star of recent years is probably Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
But even that took ages, though. That took ages.
Yeah.
Has homegrown talent ever worked from WWE?
No.
So how are you blaming independent stars when your stars, if anything, were independent stars?
Yeah, but the independent stars are all of an ilk, can't they? The most of them, and this isn't a criticism whatsoever because Adam Cole's my boy, but are Adam Cole. That's what you get. If Adam Cole was a foot taller, it'd be multi-time WWE champion by now. Which is ridiculous, but that's kind of where they want it to go. They want the big star. They want an Omos to a certain extent.
Oh, God.
I feel like their mindset is just so draconian. Vince definitely has dementia. He's waking up in 1989 every morning because he just keeps on thinking that we want these big, massive, built like a brick shit house stars. Where like before it was like, okay, I'm watching wrestling and I'm looking at this guy and that physique is unattainable and I want to be that, but it's unattainable. Now we want representation. I want to look at someone who looks a bit like me, but I'm like, if I worked hard, I think I could get it. That's the kind of era that we're in now. But he is like, no, I want these 7 foot, 500-pound guys. Like if I'm being real, if I want to see a 7 foot guy in a commander outfit, I will go to a circus. I don't want to watch him in wrestling.
It doesn't work.
He needs to come into the new era and just embrace it. This is what people want to see.
They had that with Braun Strowman though, and they let
and they got rid of him. And they got rid of him. Yeah, exactly.
A lot of that's down to money. But quickly going back to Goldberg as well. I mean, first thing, he looked a hell of a lot better in this match than he did at the Rumble, which was a, I'm trying to take some positive, like the boxer shorts were gone and we were back with some sort of wrestling tights and he looked in better shape, which I'm just glad of that, because the boxer shorts was just a sad, lonely thing. It was like the end of Goldberg for me. So I'm glad that we've slightly gone, he looked in good shape. But the thing is with Goldberg, like, as you said earlier, Skills, we're WCW boys back in the day and we loved Goldberg, but he's never been a performer.
No.
Like, you can't get a feud out of Goldberg because he's not that kind. He's not that guy. Like at the end, how mad did Goldberg really seem that his son had just been manhandled by Bobby Lashley? Like he was saying, "I'm going to kill you," but it was kind of like, "I'm going to kill you because you didn't wake me up 5 minutes earlier than you should have done." It wasn't like I've just literally manhandled your son.
Can you imagine what it felt like for me? I woke up and that's what was on my screen. A boy in this hurt lock. Like I couldn't believe it. Like honestly,
they should just put Gage in the performance center, train him up to be the next Goldberg or something.
Gage v Dom. Let's book it. WrestleMania 50.
Gage v Dom. There we go. That's what they need to start doing. But yeah, it was interesting.
It's going to go again, isn't it? Because it hasn't finished.
Saudi Arabia.
MVP kind of saved the segment in the end with saying, "Oh, we didn't know that was your son. We thought it was a fan. You can't blame Lashley." And that's, it's gonna go again. Goldberg will probably win the belt.
And you know when it goes again? Crown Jewel.
Saudi Arabia, yeah.
October. Oh my God. All right. What's next? Who's next? Goldberg.
We had the main event. The main event was on Universal Championship match. John Cena versus Roman Reigns. I thought this was a really, really good match. I think, Reigns looked like a villain. He finally looked aggressive within this feud. The whole time, in my opinion, he's been kind of passive while they've been trading their war of words and that. But John Cena obviously trying to roll him up to prove the whole quick 1, 2, 3 thing. That's all I need. He pulled out everything. Reigns went through a tape. Reigns was like Super Reigns here as opposed to Super Cena. Went through tables, loads of finishers. He kicked out of the Super AA or whatever it's called off the top rope. And eventually, Reigns got the win in the end with a spear. Then at the end, of course, Brock Lesnar, ponytail, boot cut. Brock Lesnar came out. And
don't forget the church shoes. That's not
and the church shoes, as well. Stared down Roman Reigns. I think, we could have done with a Reigns eating an F5 here, maybe just something more than just a face-to-face. But it seems that when the broadcast went off TV, John Cena got all the suplexes and F5s. But again, it's looking like maybe Brock Lesnar versus Reigns at the Saudi show.
Saudi show or Survivor Series?
I think maybe the Saudi show, because that's like a big show for them financially. Survivor Series is when they do their brand versus brand stuff, innit? So.
Okay, Ash, let's go to you. Ash, let's go to you first. When you saw Brock Lesnar, what the reaction you had? Did you pop? Were you happy to see him? I
mean, the thing is with Brock, his music is so brilliant. Like you cannot not pop to that noise. 100%. Like every time, even it's just brilliant. And I'm so here for a Brock face run. Like when the last time we had a proper Brock, no Heyman face run, because let's be honest, as good as Brock's been in this decade, the act of him coming out, Heyman doing the thing, got a little bit tired. And now we throw Heyman's on the other side. Brock looks like a killing machine. He's the scariest man with a ponytail I've ever seen. Like like those things on Twitter of him cutting meat was bad enough. Like he looked in the best shape he's been in for a very long time. I mean, I didn't think the build to just Cena Reigns was as good as it could have been, but the match definitely delivered. And you know, Cena, for a man that's been out however long, still delivers on the big stage. New shiny Hollywood hair and all. So I was pleased with the whole main event. I thought Reigns looked like a star. Cena did his job, and then we got Big Brock. So yeah, big thumbs up.
I was definitely happy to see Brock Lesnar return. I smiled from ear to ear. He looked great, like you said, Ash. He looked amazing. I'm loving the new look. I'm glad he's come with a new look. A lot of people need to learn from that. Cena. But it was great to see Brock Lesnar. Tay, Roman Reigns has to win, right? He has to win.
What, against Lesnar? Of course. Yeah. Beat him up. Get rid of him.
I mean, we're not going to do that. I think Lesnar needs to be his, because obviously Reigns is not. You know, if you look at him, Reigns has never beaten Lesnar. I don't think he's ever beaten Lesnar.
He beat him at Summerslam for the title, for the Universal title, a couple years back. But there was a whole shebang with Braun Strowman getting involved and kind of distracted him. But Reigns won. Yeah.
But most of the time, Lesnar always wins, right? Most of the time, Lesnar always wins. So this needs to be Reigns winning clean, no interference. But obviously, you can't not make. He's not going to make Lesnar look like. I mean, I think Lesnar should still dominate Reigns. To be honest, realistically, Lesnar still needs to dominate Reigns, but Reigns wins at the end. That's what needs to happen.
I think we've seen how good Reigns has been. It's actually 1 year today since Reigns came back and it adopted this character. And I think with all the names he's beaten, Edge, Cena, Lesnar's going to be added to that list. Daniel Bryan, who everyone that he's kind of went through, and obviously Rock is somewhere probably at the finale of this road. They need to be building the guy that's going to beat Reigns, like right now. Because whoever it is, like I think it's maybe Big E, a mix of Big E, maybe Drew McIntyre, maybe Karrion Kross if they put him back on track. I don't know who it is.
McIntyre is not new. He's not new.
I know, and he's about Reigns' age, but like. This is whoever's going to be the next top guy. And to be honest, like Reigns always refers to McIntyre like his favorite number 2 and all of this kind of stuff. So he's putting him over in a way as like maybe the next guy, but not quite. But whoever it is, they need to be building that person now because that person has to absorb all of the superpowers. I don't think
they know who it is yet.
They obviously don't know. They don't know who it is. This is WWE. But I'm just saying they need to be building that guy so that power can be absorbed, because we have to believe it when it happens that this person.
It's Goldberg.
Question for all you guys: If we do see Rock Reigns at Mania, Rock has to win. Reigns has to win, right?
Reigns has to win.
Has to win.
Yeah, and Rock would do that. Rock. There's no point in giving Rock the W now. Like he's not. He's Dwayne Johnson, not even The Rock anymore, and that pains me because he's my Mount Rushmore, he's my guy. But he's Dwayne Johnson. He's not The Rock anymore. Come back to a marquee match, but you don't give the man the time.
Okay, well, let's give a little ranking of SummerSlam before we sign off. I'm going to go around the room. We'll start with Tay. Out of 10, what do you give SummerSlam? Okay, let's do 5. Out of 5, what do you give SummerSlam?
3.5.
Max.
Maybe 3.5. Cena, Edge match, and then the returns saved it for me. Yeah.
Ash.
Yeah, I was going to say 3, so you've been slightly kinder, I think. But I think also we haven't said like having a full stadium of fans.
That was good. Yeah.
I thought the entryway was kind of cool. By the way it curved.
Yeah, me too. I love that.
Very geeky thing to notice. I realised that.
I love long entrance ways.
Yeah, they just made that, especially for Becky and Brock, come all the way down.
One thing about Ash, Ash does this all the time. He does this all the time. She'll notice all these, like the staging, the light, the pyro, it's good. I love it.
Did you notice the show had no pyro?
Yeah, because like when Brock did his thing, it didn't happen. And
there was no pyro on the show, and apparently
Edge had pyro.
Edge.
Yeah, the fire.
Yeah.
And apparently, people in the stadium were complaining that like their till machine or something wasn't working. So after the second match, no one could buy beers or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh dear.
It was CM Punk.
It was CM Punk. AEW. I'm gonna say 3.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a great. It was okay. Like when I dissect it with you guys, I kind of appreciate it a bit more, but it's still. Okay, well, Ash, thank you so much for finally joining us on the KickOut podcast. For those who have loved you today and love your takes and want to hear more from you, where can people find you on your platform? Please promote it on here, please.
You CM Punk people who want to send abuse my way.
You'll get a lot of that, Ash. I just kept quiet. I just stood away.
Yeah, send it to Ash Rose UK. It's fine. I'll take it. I'll take all the heat. It's fine.
So Ash Rose UK. And you want to plug your wrestling podcast?
Yeah, like the Hooked on Wrestling show. You can find it at HO Wrestling. We'll be back doing our own review of the whole weekend as well, where I'll argue even more about CM Punk. So yeah, look out for that this week. And also Almania, the 90s podcast that we do as well. So,
yes. A brilliant, fun podcast. Yes, please.
I bloody love the 90s. I may have said that a few times.
You bloody do love the 90s. Ash, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Mex, Tay, love you guys. Thank you for always helping me out with this podcast of mine. And guys, please tune in for more reviews. We got NXT TakeOver coming up, and I guess Monday Night Raw as well. We'll be talking about that sometime tomorrow or Wednesday. So please tune in to the KickOut, subscribe. You know the deal.